on my computer. Hello. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited. We have Ashley here today, and she is going to teach us all about her company and teach us about home and car insurance and everything you need to know and what the questions you should be asking your agents today, because this market is kind of constantly changing, right? So you got to stay on top of it. You need to know your agent, and Ashley is the person to bring this information to us. So I'm excited to have you today, Ashley.
You.
The Allegiance Insurance, and this is your company, correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. You want to tell us a little bit about your history and kind of how you came into Allegiance Insurance?
Sure, I'll give you the Cliff Note version because we can just talk for hours on this. Because when somebody's passionate, they will sure talk. Okay, so I got my license in 2012 to become an insurance agent. I worked for AAA. I started in California. I worked there for a few years. Then my family and we moved to Arizona. I worked for AAA there for 8 years. And then in the middle of COVID, I saw some things kind of like the writing on the wall of things that were changing within the industry. And I knew I could do better. I knew I could do better for my clients. And so I decided to open up my own insurance industry literally in the middle of COVID. So November 2020, without thinking, without a business plan, I opened up the doors. Allegiance Insurance was born, and my family moved to Texas in October 2021, literally a year after Allegiance Insurance was opened in Arizona. And we moved to Montgomery, Texas. And 2 years later, we're still open. And Cliff Note version, I am just here wanting to just better my clients, better their lives. And I like to educate them. I like to give them the options because working with a captive insurance company, they're limited. They only have one product to really represent. And by opening up an insurance company that serves many different options, there's ways for me to serve their needs and to maybe go outside of that box, because not one client fits into this nice little box of each carrier. So it's been really nice to be able to help each client individually serve that purpose.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty much Allegiance Insurance in a nutshell.
Right?
Outside of, yes.
Heck yeah. I mean, yeah, when you have it all down, you have the knowledge and the experience and, the expertise and everything. And you kind of just get to the point where you're like, I know who I want to be. I know the values that I have, and I know the client, how I want to serve my clients. So it's a natural progression. You said you moved from Arizona into Texas. So how did that work with your licensing, or, how you transitioned with your clientele?
So again, I got my license originally in California, and then I moved to Arizona and then to Texas. So you basically just move your resident license into a non-resident state and then so forth and so on. So I knew I was moving to Texas prior to actually moving. So I got my non-resident Texas license. And then when I moved here, I just transferred it from a non-resident to a resident state. And since I still produce in Arizona, I then moved that from a resident license to a non-resident, and you just do your continuing education every few years or when it's necessary. And then I'm still licensed in California. So that's my non-resident. And then I'm licensed in Nevada and New Mexico. So total is California, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, and New Mexico.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And just like not to, I know there's so much information that you don't necessarily need as like a client. But since we're getting kind of the education on everything, the benefit of being licensed in multiple states, is that to provide additional carriers for your clients, or is that more you can then help more clients? Like, which part of the state doesn't matter, where the client lives or where the company is?
It does not matter where the company is at all, really, because let's use an example. One of my carriers is based, their headquarters is in Florida. It has no barrier on where their headquarters is at all. That's just where they decided to plant their home office. What matters is where my license is. So for example, When I was in Arizona, it benefited me to still be licensed in California because a lot of clients' primary residence was in California and their vacation homes were in Arizona. So I was able to serve both of their needs and be that one agent for them to serve all of their policies. So they have one phone call to really only make.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. And what a good like balance to find out, you know, all the people in California are also in Arizona. So
And I'm now seeing that I have some Arizona clients where they're having children come out to Texas and go to college, whether it be like at A&M or they're moving to Austin just because of the vibe out there.
yeah,
Or, like I had one that moved to Waco just yesterday. So you never know where families are moving to. So if I hold their license there, I can help them.
right. That's awesome. Yeah, in California and Texas, there's a lot of overlap there as well. So definitely lots of opportunity.
Yes.
And so to touch a little bit, you talked about how the company you used to work for was really limited. And I know you and I have talked a little bit in the past about, you know, kind of the other companies that you like, quote unquote, like broker for. Um, how does that work exactly? And how do you kind of pick and choose the companies that you provide for your clients?
So this industry is getting pretty tough right now. This is probably the toughest I've really seen in all the years that I've been licensed. They're tightening up, they're restricting new business based on uh, county, by zip code, by neighborhood, really. So the carriers that I have are restricting themselves. I try to get new ones as they become more prevalent, but you can always get new carriers as you want them, just because you're like, I'm actually with Allegiance Insurance, I am entitled. It doesn't work that. I'm just one little specimen out in the sea here. But it just doesn't work that way. I have quite a few of the main carriers that are out there. Just to name a few would be like Safeco, Travelers, Progressive, Nationwide, National General. Some people have heard of them, some people who haven't. But these are like the top players really. And then you get to some of like the other carriers that have a little bit more niche in the game. And then you get some carriers that are more of a little bit, they'll play in the high risk territory. And those are kind of ones that we're playing with right now, especially with the homes in these counties. Like Harris County is very hard to write in right now. So I have very few players that are willing to even write down there. So it's just really rough right now, honestly. So when I talk to clients, I just tell them, give me everything that you have. Let's put that portfolio together. Let's see what we can work with and see how I can help you. So that's kind of really what we're dealing with.
And I know in the South, definitely the insurance is becoming like a stronger topic and stuff. Do you see that in Arizona and California and New Mexico as well, or primarily the Southern
So
policies?
Arizona, I have no issues whatsoever.
Okay.
Everything is open in Arizona.
Hmm.
California, everything is closed. I have not one carrier in California, and I have not for probably the past year. So I pretty much have to refer that out to some of my counterparts. I've built relationships with other carriers, other agencies that I can refer to. So you just build the relationships with who can, right? That
Yeah.
you can trust. Nevada's pretty much open. I write a lot of more of like the southern Nevada area, more like the Vegas, Henderson area. So there's not really any issues there. It's mostly just, southern Texas, DFW, up there too.
Right. Very fun. Um, So to talk a little bit about, I know probably one of the main questions you get is just, you know, how much is this going to cost me? How much is it? So I'd like to talk a little bit about kind of not necessarily how to read your policy, but maybe some points of what people should be looking at when they're looking at their policy. Some really good questions to be asking. And then the biggest impacts from the market on your insurance policy, like, is it the development cost over the market? You know, kind of where those
Those
are.
are great questions. So what folks go right to when they get their renewal is the dollar.
Yeah.
How much am I paying?
Right.
But what are you getting for that? It's like when you go to the grocery store, how much did I just pay? But what is also in your basket? You know, so you have to look at what are you getting for your overall annual premium on your home or your auto policy, right?
Yeah.
So look at the dwelling amount. The dwelling amount is your replacement cost, not market value, not appraised value. It's your replacement cost. Replacement cost is what is it cost to rebuild your home today in the event you have a total loss. Okay, this gets reevaluated each year. So today, how much is it going to cost if it completely burns down? Okay, and then you have other sections of your policy for detached structure. So that's anything that does not touch your home. So if you have a detached garage, shed, barn, pool, anything that is not touching your home, that's your other structures. Then you have loss of use. So you have a catastrophic loss and you're displaced from your home because you can't live in it. You need to move out temporarily. So you have to rent a place, you have to stay in a hotel temporarily. You get a set amount towards living expenses, extra food that you wouldn't normally be paying for, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have medical expenses. So that's medical expenses to others that is not you and your named insured in your immediate family. Liability. So that is liability to others, again, in the event that somebody gets injured on your resident premise. And then you have to pay a deductible should anything occur. You have a fire, you have a water damage claim, you have a wind claim, you have a hail claim. Right now, those are two separate deductibles on most policies still. Every state operates a little bit differently when it comes to your deductible, but we're talking about Texas here. So you're going to have a wind and hail deductible. Most clients, you're going to see a 1%. Some you're starting to see more of a 2% deductible. So when you say percentages, what am I paying 1% of?
Right.
That's going to be your replacement cost of your home. So let's say your replacement cost of your home is $400,000. 1% of that, we can do the math, $4,000. That's how much you have to pay in the event you have a loss due to a wind claim or a hail claim, right? And then your all other perils would be a fire or a water claim or etc. Anything that's covered under your home policy. Okay, there's other endorsements that are typically added on to or that come under the home policy. Most common that I see would be foundation coverage, water backup of sewers and drains, constant repeatage of sewers. Let's see, your extended replacement cost. What that simply means is if you have your replacement cost at $400,000, they will extend, depending on the carrier, anywhere between 10, 20, 25, or 50% on top of that $400,000. You can do the math on that one there. And then there's, a bunch of other endorsements we can add. Again, we can talk about this all day long, right?
Right.
But so that's the nuts and bolts of what makes up a home policy. And so that's what you need to look at. What am I paying for that dollar amount on the very bottom line? Yeah. And so if you want to bring your policy premium down, let's have that conversation. What can you take out, or what can you afford not to have, or can we afford to bring that deductible up a little bit? So that's where you need to talk to a licensed insurance agent.
Because I imagine that there's certain reports out there that you could be like, it's ideal to have this, but the percentage of chances of it actually happening, might not be as common in this area than this area. So you still need it, but maybe your deductible can be a little bit higher because we really should be focusing on, wind and hail versus, something else. You could
right.
probably provide that.
Right. And another thing you need to think about too is on an annual basis, speak with your insurance agent. Like, did you do home upgrades? Did you get a new roof? Roofs are huge. Oh yeah, I replaced my roof. Well, we need to add that discount on there because right now that's, a big factor. Did you upgrade your HVAC? Did you upgrade your plumbing, your wiring? Because my home is a little bit older. That's going to really factor in, Did your insurance score increase? Let's, rerun your credit. Your insurance score is very similar to like your FICO score. I do not run any social security numbers at my agency. Some do, some don't. I do not. I'm able to run it with other factors in place and still get that premium in line should your insurance score increase. So let's bring that premium down. Just have to have that conversation with your insurance agent.
This is like awesome because you don't realize everything that's actually included in your home insurance. So, so many people just think it's, oh, it's my home. And right, you forget about like the trampoline in the backyard, the parties that your teenagers have every weekend at your house, like the new
swimming pool,
right? Swimming
right.
hole. And
this is your biggest investment you're probably going to ever make. Like you need to make sure it is insured properly. So,
and everything you're bringing up is insured or an option to be insured because it has happened to somebody.
It has.
Right?
Do you have chickens? Do you have, horses? Like, are you with the right carrier that's going to cover these in the event that something happens? Like your fence breaks and your horse gets loose. What's going to happen if somebody hits your horse and kills your horse or your cow or etc. You need to make sure that you're with the proper carrier in the event something like that happens.
So talking a little bit about, we have your policy in place, everything is covered, figured it out. Are there any maybe like red flags or questions that someone can ask when they're talking to certain carriers to make sure that once they're actually a client, they can get in touch with someone when the need arises, or like you said, to update them with information? I know sometimes on the front end, customer service is fantastic. And then there's places where on the back end, it's really hard to then get in touch with them and get that claim settled.
So once somebody purchases a policy from my agency, they are stuck with me. So that's what I tell them. I'm like, you're stuck with me now. Okay. So we're in this relationship here. So I work with my clients. I service all of my clients. And when it comes to claims, so I write many different carriers. Okay. I am not a licensed claim adjuster. I am able to handle many questions in regards to claims. I do not process claims as far as if you need to file a claim, I can assist with the process. So if you're not really sure if it is claim worthy, call me. If you know for sure, hey, my vehicle just got totaled, first of all, get yourself to safety, call the police, get yourself, all settled. One of my friends who's one of my insureds, unfortunately just got into a really bad accident last night. She was texting me from the hospital and I said, get yourself home, get yourself to sleep, call me tomorrow. So we chatted this morning, we got all that situated. So that's the first act of business, get yourself taken care of and then call me. Your house is on fire. Yes, you're going to call the fire department first and then we'll, get everything situated. If you're not really sure if you're going to file a claim or not, let's walk through that process because there's some things that a handyman can fix. There's some things that like you are maybe just at the tip of the iceberg of filing a claim or meeting your deductible. Let's figure that out. And I can talk you through that and I'll give you your options before opening up that claim. And you'd be like, it just got denied. Now I have, a claim on there that was denied or paid out 0. And then we can look and see what that looks like. So always call me first. And that's what I'm there for. You can call me, text me, email, I'm always available.
Which is awesome. I mean, that is one, a fantastic service, and two, amazing to know because, a lot of people here might, they know to call their CPA, tax strategies, there's certain people and certain professions that you just get used to like calling and asking prior to making certain decisions. But you really, I personally haven't, I've only ever thought of it on my end. Like, this isn't big enough, I'm not going to submit it, but I had nothing to back that, so how fantastic is that to actually call you up to monitor my insurance score, to monitor my deductibles, and to monitor how expensive my policy is going to be based off of what I have and what this is going to take to fix. And that's so valuable right there. I love that.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So I mean, seeing the value of working with an individual and a smaller company is definitely there. You get like the hands-on, you're still getting the same coverage. You know, you're still getting all of that security on the insurance side of it. It's just the customer service aspect is actually there instead of a 1-800 number, basically.
Right.
That's awesome. I was just gonna add to that, and it slipped my mind. But with like your clients, do you kind of have like an ideal client that you're looking at, or like a bundle service or age, or I mean, is there something that is kind of easier to insure or that aligns with the area in your policies?
So if you ask any insurance agency, everybody has their ideal client, right? And in the back of my mind, yes, I have my ideal client. I'm not going to say no to anybody because everybody needs insurance. But yes, I love the clients that want to bring me their auto, their home, their toys. That's my ideal client. I love clients that are buying their first home, that don't understand insurance, but are eager to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I love clients that don't understand what insurance is. I love clients that don't want the state minimum, but have the state minimum insurance because that's all they've ever had. That's what their parents had. So that's all they know. And the clients that want to really build that relationship with me and want to stay with me in the long haul. There's a lot of people that are like, I just want the cheapest thing right now because that's all I can afford. But in the event you have a loss, can you afford to only have the state minimum? And so I really just show them this is what you have now, but if you pay X amount of dollars more to have double the coverage, can you afford to have that?
Yeah.
So it's just really about showing them the perceived difference and the perceived value because it's really not that much, even in this economy that we're in right now. So, and I just basically tell them, especially the younger ones, like, okay, it's really only like one Starbucks a month difference. If you give it to them that way, they're like, oh yeah, you're right. You have to like give them an example because if you tell them, oh, it's like $10 or more difference, they're like, $10. But then you're like, it's a Starbucks. I'm like, oh, that's not bad.
Right.
So it's really depending on the client and you have to just tweak it per that age group.
Yeah, they definitely have to connect with that dollar amount. So
They
it
do.
helps to give something a little bit more tangible instead of them breaking down their budget every month and being like, oh, like just one more thing. But it's
Yeah.
also, I mean, like you were saying, I mean, it's so powerful to know, like you need to plan for like worst case scenario. Everyone wants to sit in best case scenario. Oh, I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. I want the cheapest. And it's like, unfortunately, these things do happen. Like, do you want to be that person who's set up for best case scenario? Or do you want to
Right.
know that you're safe and secured and covered for anything?
Because they're called accidents. They're not called on purpose.
Right.
Right?
That's a great
We
quote.
don't
I
know when
love
they're going
that.
to happen, but they're going to happen. So you need to be prepared for that day.
Yes. Yes. Especially if you have children, because guess what? They're going to run into your house with a car. They're going to let the animal out. They're going to burn
Right.
the siding of your house. Like something's going to happen where you're just like, oh my gosh, let's call the insurance.
Right.
I love that. Do you see anything in insurance policies? Because it's continually changing and we know that based on uh like I can't even think of it, like the development cost market and just weather crazy stuff that's going on, that insurance is continually fluctuating. Is there ever any like grandfathered in situations or anything that if someone's been with a company a really long time, like does that make any difference in the insurance realm?
So there used to be like the longer you're with them, the better your rate is, right?
Okay. Yeah.
The longevity that used to be the thing, like, oh, I've been with X carrier for so many years. That
Yeah.
used to be a thing. Now it's not so much. Like you've outlived all of your discounts. Like you need to like recharge all those discounts. So you need to reshop once you've exhausted all of them. And so it used to be, again, every 3 years to reshop. But right now, the market is just so volatile and the rates are just so incredibly hard. I'm seeing my clients just shop, shop, shop. And I'm just trying to explain to them if they're wanting to shop me every single year, um, I can move you, but let's see what some of the consequences could be, you know? So, and if they have claims and things like that. So it's a case by case scenario, really. But yes, used to be stay, then used to be 3 years. So now it's really just a case by case scenario and what their whole portfolio really looks like.
Gotcha.
So there's no norm anymore, really.
Right. You did talked about like basically like your insurance profile, like your basically like your credit, your score, your insurance score. So for a price conscious person, is there something they can be proactive about, like choices that they can make throughout the year, certain things that they can do? Maybe I don't know if there's like school discounts, age discounts, like I don't know if this is a thing in insurance. I just like a long time ago, we used to do that. So, is there anything that people can be proactive about to either work on to keep that score up or, get into to kind of apply certain discounts?
Um, yes. As far as keeping your insurance score up, kind of like I said, your FICO score, just making sure that you're paying your credit cards on time, paying in full if you can, pay them in full. So think about this, like if you don't have a mortgage, you pay your property taxes, right? You save all year for that. Save for your home and auto insurance if you can. Some of the insurance companies do a semi-annual payment option. Some of them will give the pay in full discount for the semi-annual pay plan, which is the same discount. So that could be an option for you for a bigger discount. Every carrier is a little bit different in those fashions. Pay by the month is going to be the highest rate. So just think of those when you are preparing for your renewal. Pay in full is going to be the best rate possible. Some will give a discount if you have a bachelor's or master's, depending on your occupation. I don't really know why they give certain discounts, like the medical field, the military, certain discounts are applied.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where those come into play. Just other things like that. Student discount, very small discount. So it's not like a huge discount. Telematics is becoming a huge one because they want to track, your hard stops, your hard acceleration. It's hard if you are driving down into Houston Metro, but at the same time, right off the bat, they're giving you a 10% discount. And after your term that you're done, some will only do a 90-day, some will do a 6-month. But if you can drive good for 90 days, you can get, anywhere from 10 to 30% off of for the life. So if you can be good for 90 days, hey, that's a good discount. I mean, my husband and I did it and we turned it into a competition. So
I love that. That's awesome.
I used to say Big Brother, but I mean, Big Brother's all around. You can't get around it anymore.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah. I'm kind of more for it now, but I'm picky with who I choose. Older folks, no, because you have to drive a certain amount of miles a month. And so like the older folks, they just don't qualify for that kind of stuff. Folks that drive a lot of miles may not be a good candidate. So I kind of pick and choose who I would offer this to. But that's a good one, $10, 10% right off the bat. Your policy, $5,000, that's $500.
If would an ideal individual for that be like a new driver coming in? Does that
it would, because most families already have Life 360, so they already know where their kids are going.
Right.
So
Know where they're going, make sure they're going to do it safely and get that discount
yes,
on the back end.
absolutely. So yeah. So, just talking to your agent is just, you'll discover all of these discounts, so many different ways to save.
I love that. I mean, I think that's a great takeaway. When you're looking for insurance, don't just shop the price, shop the agent and have real conversations because you're covering your life. I mean, this isn't medical insurance, but this is everything else. Like, this is your lifestyle, your home, your car, your activities. Like, this is everything that's going on your land in your home area. So, and I mean, in your car, wherever your car goes. And so, I mean, you really, yeah, like, you need to talk to you about what you're planning to do, what your regular activities are, what's happening. So then where more risk might be, or where more coverage needs to be, or where something can be lowered or something like that based off of each individual. And I think that's such an important lesson to remember and to learn, and to kind of keep your agent actually in your back pocket and not just one sheet you pay every year and move on and go to the next. So that's incredibly helpful.
I do feel like a lot of potential clients feel like they have to hide the information from me versus disclosing everything. I'm like, if you dish it out, I feel like I can actually help you a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
and they feel like they have to be a little bit more reserved with the information. Like, oh no, is she gonna find out what I really do? And I'm like, if I
Maybe
know
get rid of
what
my
you really
trampoline.
do, well, and that's fine. You have a trampoline, great. I can insure that, Like,
Right.
if you have that, if you do that, that's fine, because these insurance companies really aren't that bad. But just lay the land out, Like, I had a potential client yesterday. She was actually one of my clients, but she was trying to insure her mom. And I was like, okay, tell me the real story. What's going on? She's like, okay, here's the story. And I'm like, great. I'm so glad you do not fit into a square box, because this is what we can do. She's like, oh, I'm so happy you can help. I'm like, see, I told you I could. And I ended up saving her so much more than she ever thought I could. And she was so happy about it. So it's like, just dish it. Let's just talk about it, girl talk. And
Right.
it's just so much better. I'm like, I've been doing this for a hot minute. I kind of know what I'm doing, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because I'm licensed. I know these carriers pretty much inside and out. And if I don't know it, I will find out.
That's awesome.
So just
Um,
better just tell me.
and with that, just to kind of add on to that. So, because if they don't dish it and they don't tell you everything, and they are having something on their property or doing certain things they're not supposed to, would that void like, if something happened, would that void their insurance because they're not, um, like, if you had a trampoline and you weren't supposed, I'm gonna get stuck on the trampoline again. If you had that's just like the best example I could have. um, and if you had it and you don't tell anyone and someone gets injured on it, you think you're covered to have people, getting injured on your property. But if they're doing it on something that you didn't disclose, that could be a bigger problem on the back end.
So great question. So homeowners insurance, if I ask them a series of questions on the application, well, the carriers do have certain amount of days to underwrite the policy. And
Mhm.
if they go out and do a home inspection, they come back and they see something that they don't like or that is not eligible, they have the right to cancel, non-renew at, the renewal date, or increase the rate. So they have various ways to come back with a different result.
Right. So
Same
better
with the
disclose
auto
it up front.
insurance.
Yeah.
Same with the auto insurance. If they find somebody that is a undisclosed household member, they will either add them as a rated driver or exclude them. They will find out this information.
You
So
will
just dish
find
it.
out.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
If you go through the whole process to get insurance and to
I
get approved,
know.
you might as well just have like not be sitting there nervous to your stomach of, will they find out? What is going to happen? Am I going to get approved? Yeah. Just get it all out in the beginning.
Right?
Get
Just tell
approved.
me.
Done.
And I ask it in such a nice way. So just tell me, because we could have just gone through this the first time.
Hmm.
It's like, I'm not trying to like criticize you or like be like lawyerish.
Helpful, right? You
Yes.
know the industry, we don't.
Yes.
So yes, exactly. So disclose, get educated, make the right steps, be covered.
I'm
And
actually trying to save you money by giving you like great coverage, and just the underwriters will do everything that they can to make sure it is done right
yeah,
and possibly not save you money.
right. Plus, they don't know you. You know, in my
Don't.
experience, most underwriters are just a third party company and they're going to come out and they're just going to note their opinion in what they're viewing. They have no idea who you are or the actual story. So, the more that your agent actually knows you and you disclose to them, then yeah, you can be the advocate and, you know, provide that information to make sure it gets underwritten correctly and goes through the right way. So,
Right.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm so excited, Ashley. This was a lot of fun. And it's I mean, me personally, I got a ton out of it because, you know, I'm definitely you know, one of those annoying individuals that basically calls every couple of years and is just kind of like, all right, what do I got? What's my stuff? But I didn't even think of actually calling up throughout the year and saying, you know, these are the updates to my house. This is what we're going on. This is what we're adding, you know, this is what we're planning. And I think that's powerful to know that as you guys make changes to your houses, your cars, your lifestyle, you know, just make a friend of your agent and make sure that everything is still how it's supposed to be because it changes throughout the year, not every year. It changes throughout the
Right.
year. So
It does. And you can
uh,
make endorsements midterm. You don't have to wait for a renewal.
that is really good information. So
Build
I
that relationship with your agent, you know.
and
Hopefully they're willing to reciprocate.
well, right. I was just going to say, I said, if you have an agent right now that doesn't want to reciprocate, doesn't want to work with you, and just wants to pocket the money once a year and does not want to hear from you, cancel, call Ashley, and, you're stuck with her. Move
Yeah.
forward and be good and know that you're covered.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That
Stuck
is
with me for life.
for life. Exactly. Unless you move to Wisconsin, but don't do that.
Yeah, no. I'm not a
Oh,
snow bunny.
right. Those are, you'll have lots of different insurance issues at that point. So.
Right.
Well, awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to provide little tips or tricks of the trade? I know we covered quite a bit, so
I think we did. But if I think of anything, then you'll have to call me.
definitely, definitely, right? Save your
Yeah.
agent's phone number in your phone and make sure that you're always getting educated and updated. So, all right, Ashley with Allegiance Insurance Agency. If you want an agent that's going to get it done and answer your phone call, call Ashley. So, thank
Thank
you
you.
again. Thank
All
you.
right.
I'm going to stop it.